Once upon a time, in a small village situated among some beautiful mountains, there lived a young boy named Steve. He was a very generous and God-fearing man who spent most of his valuable time in devotion to God. He would go to church as soon as he woke up from bed. However, he remained worried most of the day. People in his village would say about Steve, "The second name of worries in our village is Steve. He does nothing but worry." This way, time went by, and the worrying habit of Steve grew deeper into his character. Now he began to spend his time thinking about unnecessary and negative things, like what he would do after the death of his parents, where he would go, and who would be feeding him when his parents were no longer around. By this time, his mind had been filled with such types of foolish thoughts, so he began to remain unhappy all day long and kept cursing God. People in his village would also avoid him whenever they found Steve in their way. Due to Steve's habit of unnecessary worrying, people refused to talk to him. To pass his time, he would go to a very charming and soothing sound-creating river, sitting there in solitude under a large tree. He thought that the habit of too much worrying and thinking had almost ruined his life. He realized that if he had to save his life and future, he would have to give up this life-destroying habit very soon. Otherwise, it would take him to the boundless depths of unending depression, hopelessness, and disappointment. Then one of his close friends saw Steve sitting there. He approached Steve and asked him very softly, "What happened, my friend? Why are you sitting here alone?" Steve told his friend about his habit of too much worrying and overthinking. Steve's friend advised him to meet a Zen monk residing in a nearby monastery in their village. His friend told him that the Zen master was very thoughtful and meditative, having resolved the sufferings and problems of thousands of people. He said, "If you go there, you will also find answers to your problems that are destroying your life." Accepting the advice of his close friend, Steve moved to the monastery where the Zen master, with profound knowledge and wisdom, had been residing with serenity. The path to the monastery was not easy, and Steve had to face several difficulties to find answers to his problems. When Steve and his friend reached the monastery, they saw some people coming out of it. Steve humbly requested them to stop for a while and inquired about the Zen master. Those few people told Steve that the Zen master's teachings and wisdom were beyond any description. They assured Steve that he would not return empty-handed from there. Thereafter, Steve approached the Zen master. After hearing the immeasurable pain deep inside Steve's heart, the Zen master said to Steve, "My child, in this world, no one wants to live and stay with someone who remains sad, worried, and unhappy, because everyone thinks this type of individual is ill-fated. If you really want to attract people and draw their attention toward yourself, then you have to be happy and cheerful, not only from the inside, but from the outside too. Steve, always remember that we get what we focus on. If we focus on problems and worries, then we get the same in our life. But if we focus on the solutions to those problems and worries, then we start getting solutions to them. So it is very important for us to focus on what we want in our life. Moreover, you never have to let people know that you are broken from inside, because in this world, the number of good-hearted and sympathetic people is less compared to those who make fun of our bad situation. Steve, my child, in this world, people give less support and more betrayal. So never let people know about your problems. Otherwise, no one will stay with you for long. The root cause of all your problems is worrying and overthinking. That's why I'm going to tell you 4 ways with the help of which you will surely kick out the habit of unnecessary worrying and overthinking. After this, the Zen master started telling the 4 important ways to get out of the tornado of overthinking and worrying. The Zen master imparted the first way by saying, "Steve, never carry the burden of unwanted, negative, and unnecessary thoughts. They will never benefit you in any way, but they always have the power to destroy the peace of your mind and soul. Just live freely and never forget that what is past can't be changed. Focus on what you can change and what's in your hands. Don't focus on what you can't change. If you ever try to change something that is not in your control, you will get nothing but hopelessness and disappointment. This creates worry and anxiety. Number 2. Never argue with anyone, Steve, my child. Argument with any fool may lead your inner peace to uneasiness, and this will ultimately make you worried. When we argue with a fool, it is our loss because at that time we are trying to explain our point to a person who does not know how to understand. In their eyes, only their words are right, and the words of others are wrong. If you are able to stay positive in negative situations, that's where you start winning in your life. So why disturb your peace of mind by talking to such a foolish person? Silence is the best answer from a wise man to a fool, and in this way we can save ourselves from worrying unnecessarily. After telling 2 noble ways to avoid worrying unnecessarily, the Zen master paused for a while. Then he told Steve the 3rd way and said, "My friend, you know how many such negative and unwanted thoughts always go on in our mind, which push us into the depths of despair. We can free ourselves from its web through meditation. Through meditation, we can stop the tempest of all kinds of thoughts arising inside our minds and create a new space for new and positive thoughts and ideas. This way, we can live our life without any worries. Meditation not only changes us from the inside, but also helps us look good from the outside. Meditation brings a positive change in our way of thinking, and with this, our day passes peacefully." 4th and the last lesson, the master said to Steve, "My child, if you want to live a life free from worries, anxieties, and problems, then always speak less and speak only when necessary. If possible, speak useful. If you keep talking excessively everywhere, people will start ignoring you, will not respect you or your words, and will call you a fool. Speak only when necessary. First, think 10 times, then speak. Speaking less and speaking useful things will save you from unnecessary troubles and worries. This habit will not improve quickly, but will definitely improve with regular efforts. Because of this habit of speaking less and useful things, people will have to listen to your words carefully." After saying this, the Zen master became silent and calmed down, starting his meditation once again. Steve had understood that the master had said his final words, so he got up, thanked the master for imparting these 4 valuable lessons, bowed respectfully before the master, and returned to his village. The people in his village observed some small but life-changing changes in Steve since his return from the Zen monastery. They noticed that Steve was no longer worried unnecessarily about anything. He was no longer a man lost in deep thoughts as he used to be. He was now happy, and wherever he went, he spread happiness and peace. Everyone began to enjoy his company. In this way, with the help of the wisdom of the Zen master, Steve had completely changed his life. We can also cultivate a core mindset where there is no room for worries and overthinking by putting everything aside that makes us worried, anxious, and unhappy. Don't focus on worries, focus on the solutions to them. Then see how significant changes start to enter your life.